Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we have Marshall Koval from Lumina Gold Corporation. Marshall's joining us today to give us his assessment of the current sentiment within the gold space, to let us know what he thinks needs to change for investors to get excited about junior equities again. He's also going to fill us in on all the exciting things happening over at Lumina Gold, so stay tuned. Hey Marshall, welcome to The Dive. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Cassandra. Good to be with you today.
Okay, so Marshall, this is the first time we've had you on. I have to ask, what's your long thesis for gold? What gets you excited about the metal?
You know, I still have the view that we're going to see gold over $2,000 an ounce and maintain it for a while. I'm surprised it isn't there yet with kind of the geopolitical situation going on in the world right now with the Ukraine and Israel and Hamas situation, although gold did react with that in the last few days. So I think the thesis in the longer term is above $2,000 gold. Obviously, we look at our projects and we value them in the engineering work we do around $1,650. So we have a lot of upside to movements in the gold price. So that's kind of how I see it today.
So you've been in the mining industry for a number of years. What's your assessment on the current sentiment within the space?
So I'm on the board of Equinox Gold, besides being involved as CEO of Lumina Gold and Luminex Resources, which are development and exploration companies, the latter two. Equinox, we're a producer, and basically I think the sector is really undervalued right now. It's been under a lot of pressure. What you've seen is the gold producers, the Equinox and who's the mid-tier and larger companies have responded as gold prices have moved up and down fairly well. The developers in the junior space haven't had a lot of love in the sector. So I think there's a lot of massive undervaluation in that space. And I think as time goes on, hopefully we'll see those valuations come back in better line, both higher movement up in the producers and then see the developers and the explorers move up as well.
What do you think needs to change for investors to feel comfortable with junior mining equities again?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's complicated. I think, over the last several years, you've had some competing interests, with crypto and things like that. And then also you have the broader U.S. stock market moving up. So you haven't seen very many generalists come into the space. And I think one of the things we need to see, particularly in the producing companies, is more of the generalists coming into the gold space. I think we still are under inflationary pressures within the mining sector. You would have thought that would have had gold react a little bit better than it has. But I think in the longer term, we need to see some the generalist funds and generalists come into the market. And I think that will.
Okay, now let's turn the discussion to Lumina Gold. As we do with all of our new guests on the show, could you provide us a high-level overview of the company?
Yeah, so Lumina Gold, we entered Ecuador in 2014, and this is a Ross-v Lumina Group company. So I joined Ross in sort of 2004 and been involved in all of the Lumina Group companies. And this is the most advanced company we have right now in the development space, Lumina Gold, and that's Ross's development company. So we went into Ecuador in 2014. We acquired the Cangrejos project. It had no resource on it. Fast forward to today, we have over 20 million ounces of gold in all categories and about 2.6 billion pounds of copper. We're at feasibility stage right now at Cangrejos. We just did a streaming deal with Wheaton Precious Metals for $300 million. That gives us roughly $50 million to advance through the feasibility study and some early works type projects, and then $250 million towards production. And the initial capital cost of in the pre-feasibility study we did at Cangrejos was roughly $925 million US plus VAT, which is refundable. So that gives us about a quarter of the financing to move the project forward once the production decision is made and all the permits are in place. Right now, we're in the field doing a lot of engineering work for the feasibility study. We've got an 18,000 meter drill program underway. We're about 60% complete with that. We're starting to hire the engineering companies to advance the feasibility engineering work. So we're on schedule basically for 2025, probably in the second quarter to complete the feasibility study, be in the position to make a production decision. And that's kind of where the project sits today.
For our retail investors, from a metallurgical perspective, how challenging is it to recover both the gold and copper for this project?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there's a lot of conventional metallurgy process engineering capabilities or experience in place. And basically, it's a pretty simple flow sheet. There's flotation of a gold, and you'll produce a gold copper concentrate. And then also we'll produce a small amount of doré with a CIL circuit, a cyanide leach circuit. So this metallurgy is straightforward. Recoveries for gold are about 85%, and the copper is about 79%. So it's industry standard type technology.
Now, copper is getting lots of talk in the media right now. Do you predominantly view yourself as a future gold producer or a copper producer? And how does this impact your strategy?
Yeah, so if you look at a revenue split, about 80% of the revenue in the pre-feasibility study we completed last year or this year was gold and about 20% copper. So basically, it's a nice mix to have both the gold and the copper. And basically, we'll produce majority of the minerals in a concentrate. We'll ship it from a port about 40 miles or 40 kilometers from the project, and then move it on to smelters.
What color can you give us on the cap table and investor base of the company?
So market cap, right? We traded down here recently with the broader market. We were up around 250 million market cap. We're down about 150 right now. Ross-Beatty has 21% of the company right now. We have an Ecuadorian investor group, about 18%. We've got a fund out of California with about 9%. Management and the board have about 9%. So we've got a good solid backing for a majority of the position, and then the balance that's flowed within the market.
How challenging has it been to manage your shareholder base in this type of market?
You know, one of the key things, and obviously when you have share prices moving down along with the broader market, you get a lot of investors that have questions where we had it, what's going on. So one of the key issues there is to have a lot of outreach and a lot of one-to-one, and then participate in things like this that we're doing today, where we talk about where the company's headed, what we've achieved, and communication becomes real key. I think we're fortunate that we have a long-term following through the Lumina Group and Ross's companies. So we have pretty patient investors, but even given that, you really have to keep on top of the communication, and that's what we're trying to do, both myself and Scott Hicks.
Okay, Marshall, before we let you go, are there any milestones or timelines that investors should be watching out for over the remainder of the year?
Yeah, I think basically, as I mentioned earlier, the drilling program that we're doing right now, we're going to have that wrapped up hopefully in December. We'll have drill results. We're doing infill drilling to take the reserve from probable to proven reserve for the first 3 years of the mine life. So that'll be one thing. We'll have metallurgy program, have metallurgical results, and those are the type of things that to look out for this year.
Okay, great. Well, Marshall, that's all we have. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing the story with us.
Thanks a lot, Cassandra. Good luck. Bye-bye.
To our audience at home, thank you so much for tuning in today. We will be back with more videos like this, so if you enjoyed this one, consider hitting that subscribe button below me there so you don't miss out on the next one. Bye.